Thank you really for that lovely song. I am indeed very happy to have you all this Sabbath morning. I would like to thank the Lord that in spite of the severe cold temperature, you are here worshiping God today. To all our visitors who have come to join us, thank you. We are so happy to have you. I hope and I pray that we will all be blessed as we worship together this Sabbath. Before I preach, I would like to make a very important announcement. But I noticed that today the attendance is slightly affected, perhaps because of the cold. But next Sabbath, whether it's cold or it's hot, I want you to be here. We have a very special guest. The new president of our conference will be with us this Sabbath. And so please be here. If you want to meet him, you want to fellowship with him, you want to see him for the first time, come next Sabbath. He will lead us in the divine hour of worship. Ron Nelson, our new conference president. So please, we will have our fellowship lunch. What does that mean? It means bring more food. Okay, thank you very much. All weather disciples. Before we go to that, shall we bow our heads and pray? Father in heaven, as we now go into your word, we ask that you please open our hearts and our minds. Grant us wisdom from above. May we be encouraged, may we be challenged to serve you and remain faithful to you. Please be with me as I lift you dearly, and as I ask in Jesus' name. You know, just this week, I ran across a video on YouTube. It's about a very brief segment in American history. As Canadians, maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you've seen it in the movies. Or maybe you know a little bit about this. I suspect that you have at least heard the name. It was called the Pony Express. Have you heard about it? The Pony Express? The Pony Express is a very important part of American history at the time in which it was operated. But what you may not know is that the Pony Express did not operate for a very long time. It only lasted about 19 months, from April 3, 1860 to November 1861. The purpose of the Pony Express was to provide communication between the Midwest and the western part of the United States of America. It was developed to get mail messages, to get news quickly across the wide open expanse of the West. It was about 2,000-mile journey from St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California. Let's take a look at the video, okay?
During a time when stagecoaches carried Wells Fargo treasure, a rider and his horse emerged to become an American legend. From April 1860 to October 1861, daring Pony Express riders and their noble steeds carried mail 1,966 miles between Missouri and California, racing across Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and Nevada. This bold idea was the brainchild of businessmen Russell, Majors, and Waddell. They established the Central Overland California and Pikes Peak Express Company to prove that mail carried by horse and rider could deliver important letters and business communication faster. Mail carried by horseback relay could be delivered in 10 days, while mail by stagecoach took twice as long. To stock relay stations every 12 miles, 500 horses were purchased, over 200 men hired, and stations built where there were no existing stage stops. But the Pony Express meant more than just faster letter delivery. Pony service connected citizens in the West with events in the East, at a time when the threat of civil war was pulling the nation apart. Pony riders brought news of Abraham Lincoln's election and of first shots fired upon Fort Sumter, marking the start of the Civil War. One San Francisco newspaper editor described the importance of the Pony Express to Westerners in those troubled times.
One by one, the chains of darkness and desert are broken, and we are brought nearer and nearer to our brethren on the other side of the continent.
The Pony Express never achieved a profit for its founders. In April 1861, W.H. Russell transferred ownership and control over to Wells Fargo and Company west of Salt Lake City, and Wells Fargo reduced postage rates immediately. But new technologies were about to overtake even the swift riders of the Pony Express. When the new transcontinental telegraph was completed in October 1861, making communications near instantaneous, the Pony Express was no longer needed.
So that's the story of the Pony Express. Each rider rode about 70 miles a day, changing horses every 15 to 20 miles. They traveled light. They took a little pack with some food in it and another little pack with their first aid. As they set up for the day, they were always hoping that the weather won't stop them, or that the Native Americans would have chased them. Can you imagine, friends? These riders were expected to cover 2,000 miles stretched in just 10 days. And there were even times when they had to cover the distance for even lesser time. If there would be an important news to bring to the territory, these riders have to make their ponies run faster. Like what it said in the video, when Abraham Lincoln was elected president, the news covered that stretched for 8 days. And his inaugural address set the record. It took them only 7 days and 17 hours to cover the distance. These riders were known to be the most durable horse riders those days. But you may wonder, what in the world would cause somebody to volunteer for such a position? It's very dangerous. It's very difficult. And most of the time it's deadly. What motivated these riders to take the job? Perhaps money, you say. But that is far from it, because they only earn $100 to $120 a month. So it must be something else. But what is it? Well, this will give us a clue. Let's look at the advertisement that appeared in San Francisco newspaper in 1860. It was a very brief advertisement. It was an advertisement for the Pony Express trying to recruit new riders. Look at this. Pony Express, St. Joseph, Missouri to California in 10 days or less. 110. Young, skinny, wiry fellows, not over 18, must be expert riders willing to risk death daily. And what's that? The next statement is orphans preferred. Orphans preferred. The qualification seems very interesting, right? Orphans preferred. What does that mean? It clearly tells us that this was a very dangerous job. So those without families to mourn for them when they die, they are welcome. They are more preferred. The Pony Express riders were armed with light pistols